privileged. He's a practicing orthopedic surgeon, a surgeon consultant, and a philanthropist to needy communities. I hold Dr. Bhaskar with absolute respect when I learned that over 18,000 free surgical correction procedures he has done for deformities and disabled ones, and the rehabilitation of the homeless and disabled ones through shelters. This is an evidence that Dr. Bhaskar changes lives of several people forever. Dr. Bhaskar is with us today, and he'll be speaking on the developments of COVID-19 pandemic from his observations in the medical field in India. It's critical to pay attention to the medical guidance that defies some of the myths that have promoted the deadly spread in India over the last few months. Dr. Bhaskar, it's with privilege I introduce you to share your views with our audience. Welcome, Dr. Bhaskar.
Sir, unmute. Dr. Vijay Bhaskar, please unmute.
You're on mute. Yep.
Nellore Krishnapatnam treatment. So what exactly is going on in Andhra Pradesh is there's a widespread increase in number of cases per day, and there's a lot of deaths. So in this situation, since about 2 days, one quackery practitioner called Anandaya, he is from Krishnapatnam near Nellore. He is distributing syrup, which is liquid syrup from the certain herbs is prepared. I personally debated with him on TV channel. I questioned him how you could prepare the syrup or whatever liquid, whatever it is called. It is not even Ayurvedic drug, nor he is an Ayurvedic doctor. He is just a quack. So I asked him, how did you know the ingredients? What are the purpose of ingredients and all that? When I asked him, he told me that he doesn't know anything about ingredients. He told me that day for yesterday he had a dream. In the dream, his guru came and then suggested certain plants to make a syrup and then put the drops into eyes of the corona affected people. And then likewise, he asked them to treat like that. So, but unfortunately, what happened when it's a pandemic situation, there's a lockdown going on in both the Telugu states. This time, he invited a lot of thousands of people at his village, where there was no mask and there was no social distance among about 80,000 people. So that was unfortunate. Then as an allopathic doctor and chairman of Ethics Committee Clinical Research and Trials, I've taken as a responsibility, and then I discussed with the government officials. I told the government officials to stop such activity in that village because unnecessarily it cross-infect the infection among the people, and then there will be a misnomer or wrong belief among the people that they will not care about themselves and they'll go back home and they'll be careless because some quackies put the drops in the name of corona drug. So whatever it may be, now the government has stopped the distribution of those drops, and then
Dr. Vijay Bhaskar, we lost you. Can you hear us? Doctor, we can see you, but we cannot.
You're able to hear? No?
Yeah, now we can hear you. Yeah, please, please
So
continue.
ultimately, government, is it okay?
We can't see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
So the government has stopped the distribution of those drops, but unfortunately, within 2 days, there are about 8 quacks are newly developed in Andhra Pradesh. The new developed quacks are introducing their own herbs and medicines, herbal medicines, posing like an antiviral drug. And unfortunately, this is the matter I want to tell you all. Then second thing is, day for yesterday, this Anandaya put the 2 drops into one ICU patient who came to him for the drops. So that time it was 70 was the saturation, it seems. And then he put the 2 drops. Within seconds, he got up and his saturation was shoot up to 95. So he was claiming that his drug is also working, his syrup is working for the emergency ICU patients. But what happened today is that the same patient admitted in ICU with renal failure as well as the saturation is dropped down to 60. So this is what I want to tell you the latest information from Andhra Pradesh. So anyway, let Reddy sir talk on that. Sir, MS
Yeah.
Reddy sir.
Yes, sir. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Can you tell? Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Vijay. Okay,
Yeah.
so good to see you. Anyway, my thought on that, when I saw that I was following all those videos last 2 days, okay, then my background, Dr. Vijay, I did a lot of work on the alternative medicine. Okay, I had a very good fascination when President Clinton was in office, and they got me involved with this. And then I understood Ayurveda. I did a lot of research on Ayurveda, and I published. I had patents on it too, where I was using the herbal and the probiotic combinations. Okay,
Correct.
that's why we were able to cure arthritis and all other diseases. We did a lot of work on that thing. When I when I saw this, Vijay, I thought, my God, what's going on here? Because I couldn't see. I thought when you put in the eye drops, the eye drops, I thought it activated the central nervous system, and then immediately jolted it. Okay, that's what I thought. But now you're
counter-irritant.
yeah, and then where herb, only way I can explain that is so quick to do that. Even to turn on the immune system, it won't turn on in few hours. Okay, I mean it is according to science. But I don't know what this is. And if the guy got up and walked out, okay, even though he passed out and all that, I don't know how to interpret that thing. But in what you're telling me right now, the same patient went back into ICU again, and the oxygen dropped to 60. And did anybody check again? They put the drops again? What happened?
No, they didn't.
Okay, that's as I said. Ayurveda is a nice science, no doubt about that. It's a probiotic. It's a prebiotic. It's a prebiotic, and also alkaloid in it with buffers. Okay, it's a very good system. But if somebody has to evaluate this, I wish I was in India right now to look into this thing. Okay, that's all I can tell you. Okay, it's very hard, and everybody's going bananas here. And I think if that is what it is, man, let's save the people, But if there are any serious side effects in it, it's going to be a problem. And I'm sure you guys are all evaluating that. Okay, that's my comment.
All right, thank you, Dr. Vijayabhaskar and Dr. Reddy for your comments. Yeah, we all know things like this always come up in India. There's always something magical which happens overnight. Not just pandemic, in every field, there's always something popping up. So we'll keep a close eye on it. Thank you, Dr. Vijayabhaskar. Anybody has any questions? If not, we can move on to the next speaker.
Yeah. So Arun, we will take a brief introduction about the Lead India Foundation and also play one video of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. So I just wanted to be on time. That's the reason I decided to do it later a little bit. So the Lead India Foundation, which is also now called Lead Foundation Global, is a brainchild of our 11th President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's Vision 2020, and founded with a mission to provide affordable quality healthcare, affordable quality education, preserve and protect the planet for future generations, and develop spiritual families to establish peace and harmony in the society. Lead India also conducts value-based leadership training programs to transform youth into responsible citizens and engage them in developing the nation. During the COVID-19 pandemic, which has impacted global healthcare, education, economy, and employment due to restricted mobility, especially youth are undergoing a lot of stress and losing hope since schools and colleges are closed. The Lead India Foundation has been hosting a series of webinars on the impact of COVID-19 to instill hope and encourage youth to be safe and be positive about their future. Friends, the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted the global healthcare, education, economy, and employment due to restricted mobility. So through this webinar series, Lead India is bringing global healthcare professionals to provide expertise, guidance to address the COVID-19 wave 2 in India in particular, in collaboration with many partner organizations and also experts like what you're seeing today, Dr. M.S. Reddy, Dr. Vijay Bhaskar, Dr. Anish, and Dr. Guru Reddy. They are very renowned people in their respective professions. So we also launched on October 2nd, an innovation challenge, which happens to be our great leader, Mahatma Gandhi's 151st birthday, to offer solutions for providing affordable health, quality healthcare, education, environment, peace and harmony, and also economic and employment generation and entrepreneurship for empowering youth and women. And if we are really appreciating a lot of responses coming and a lot of people are submitting the innovation ideas. Now we are in the process of reviewing them through a jury and to provide them mentorship as well as attach them to the funding agencies. I think this means a lot. The need is so huge, especially on the pandemic and post-pandemic. A lot of devastation is happening, and now all the latest and greatest technologies can put to use to find out possible solutions to trigger back the economy so that the life can become normal again. Again, sincerely appreciate all of you joining today. Back to you, Arun.
Thank you, Dr. Hari, for that introduction. Now, I would like Narasimha to play Dr. Kalam's video. Narasimha, are you ready?
Yes, Hari, Dr. Hari and Arun, thank you. Let me share my screen.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
please go
watching.
ahead.
Oh, very high tech, man. He's watching.
Where there is righteousness in the heart, there is beauty in the character. When there is beauty in the character, there is harmony in the home. When there is harmony in the home, there is order in the nation. When there is order in the nation, there is peace in the world.
Thank you, Narasimha, for rendering such a wonderful video of Dr. Kalam. So just want to mention about one more thing we did during the pandemic. We digitally traveled around the world for 37.5 hours, visited 47 countries with 148 speakers, which ended up as a world record. And I was nonstop on the show for close to 40 hours. So it was very, very interesting to meet different people from different parts of the world and what kind of problems they are facing because of the COVID. And we try to bring those people together. Now they are working to provide the mentorship or resources needed on the ground. It's an excellent, very gratifying experience personally for me. And I would like to sincerely thank the entire team who made it possible and this ongoing webinar series. Thank you all again. Please, Arun, resume your program.
Yep, thank you. Thank you, Narasimha, for that wonderful video. Our next speaker is Dr. Guru Prakash. Dr. Guru Prakash is a renowned cardiologist with over a decade of experience in IMCS stenting and bifurcation stenting. He has had the privilege of being the principal investigator in over 4 international clinical trials. Dr. Prakash has special interest in interventional cardiac procedures. He's a consultant at Yashoda Hospitals, a DM cardiologist at Sri Jaydev Institute of Cardiology, and post-DM resident of cardiology at SJIC. His services include complex intervention, device closures, primary PCI, complex PTCA, cardiac catheterization, and CRTD, among other areas of specializations. Today, Dr. Prakash will be sharing with us some fundamental tips that can safeguard us during this pandemic. Welcome, Dr. Prakash. Dr. Prakash, floor is yours.
So, very good evening to all my Indian viewers and very good morning to all Western viewers. I'm Dr. Guru Prakash, the cardiologist at Yashoda Hospital, Hyderabad. Hope I'm audible. Am I clear? My voice is clear?
Yes, yes, we can hear you. Yeah.
Issue with my iMac and later correct it.
We're good.
So I thank Mr. Hari Ippanapalli garu for giving me this opportunity to share my views in this esteemed platform. And I thank all other organizers of this platform for giving me the opportunity. Thank you very much. And then with this, we'll go with, all that we're aware that how India is grappling with the unprecedented second wave of COVID, and the rage, magnitude, the ferocity is so intense, and it's devastating, catastrophic, and punishing in humanity. Going forward, the dynamics of this pandemic are still not known at large. Don't know what it is. So it has turned a healthcare crisis into a humanitarian crisis, and it has led into a warlike situation because of this scenario. So in the next few minutes, I will be sharing about my basic topic, how corona infection affects cardiovascular system, and then scenario at India, basic scenario, how it's going on in my hospital, everywhere, and then how media and a responsible citizen should respond to this kind of scenario. And then third wave and some of the tips to the COVID. These are some of my subtopics next time I'm going to talk. Coming to the first topic proper, how cardiovascular system is affected by this COVID disease. So we have, say, close to around 2,000 beds in our hospital, 3 hospitals, Yashoda hospitals. So around 70-75% of the bed strength is allotted to COVID, rest are into non-COVID. So for the past 1 month, absolutely there are no beds for COVID. It is like this, we discharge 100, maybe another 200 coming up for admission, 200, 300. That is the present scenario here. So in this, I gathered some of the data, my own data to how to, and publishing a paper also on this. Before that, I got this entire opportunity to share some of the data on this. So in this, out of these patients, what I could gather was nearly 30 to 40% of the people are affected, COVID population patients are affected with cardiovascular system manifestations. One of the commonest manifestations is increase in the heart rate. This primarily happens because the stimulation of sympathetic nervous system, where the receptors through various mechanisms still unknown, they stimulate the sympathetic nervous system, leading to higher heart rates. So usually the heart rate is between 60 to 100. These people suffer with higher heart rate of 110, 120, 140. And then they have a something kind of a palpitation kind of feeling, giddiness, fatigue. So we need to recognize this symptom early and we treat accordingly. And the other common thing is decreased heart rate, bradycardia. They have around 40, 50, below 60 range of heart rates. They have a giddiness, all these things. This is considered to be due to the overactivity of parasympathetic system. Usually sympathetic, parasympathetic are balanced and you have a rate of between 60 to 100. Once there is an overstimulation of sympathetic, they go into higher heart rate, and parasympathetic overstimulation go into bradycardia. So these usually we treat this higher heart rate people with beta blockers, either by propranolol, metoprolol, all these things. Now newer drug has come, which is hello, am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. Please go ahead. We can hear you.
Some systems. So now newer drugs have come with ivabradine, these IF current inhibitors, which are supposed to be more superior to beta blockers in reducing this drug. We have done a trial comparing the beta blocker with ivabradine, but ivabradine fared superior in the preliminary trials. So coming to the next manifestations, this cardiovascular system becomes a prothrombotic milieu because of this inflammatory status. So once the COVID virus infects the body, it causes a prothrombotic milieu in the body, damaging the endothelium. This prothrombotic state is due to higher elevated levels of D-dimer, CRP, and IL-6. So once the CRP levels, D-dimer increase, they cause a situation as prothrombotic state. A prothrombotic state and a damaged endothelium results in a thrombotic state. This thrombus can form anywhere in the body. It could be in arteries of the brain, arteries of the heart, or arteries of the limb supplying particular limb. So when there is a particular blockage in the heart vessels, there is acute coronary syndromes. It could range from acute MI to the unstable angina, non-QMI status. We treat according to the basic numbers. Suppose if there is an acute MI, transmural MI, we thrombolize. There is a set criteria. Basically, we have to go for a thrombolysis rather than a primary PCA, which is usually advocated in acute MI situation. Then non-QMI unstable angina are treated by primarily anticoagulations and antiplatelets. Next, coming to the thrombus in the cerebrovascular system. Suppose if there is a CVA or blockage in the blood vessels supplying the brain, they go into a sort of brain stroke. Usually, if the window period is less, we usually thrombolize in such scenario. And we have seen particularly around 8 to 9 cases of thrombus in the LV left ventricle. There's a clot formation in the left ventricle. This further embolization into cerebral, these clots can further embolize into brain and peripheral system circulation. So sometimes there can be thrombus in the limbs, arteries supplying the limb. Wherever there is that particular arteries thrombosed due to limb ischemia, usually we go by embolectomy, or sometimes people are going to an amputation state also, and there is an advanced stage. Next commonest manifestation is this myocarditis. So through the expression of ACE2 receptors, angiotensin converting 2 receptors, this coronavirus is supposed to make this paralyze these myocardial cells, leading to LV dysfunction and further heart failure. It's left ventricular failure sometimes, and then right ventricular failure, totally into congestive heart failure. They develop into a system of failure. This further paralyzing a situation of corona, where there is already lung is compromised because of the coronavirus, and adding to this heart failure leads to further deterioration and can be add to a lot of mortality and mortality. Next common manifestation is arrhythmias. So usually these arrhythmias are ventricular tachycardias, ventricular fibrillations, bradyarrhythmias have been known, and they can lead to a sudden cardiac death also. So I've seen particular people who have usually they recovered from a COVID scenario, mild moderate disease, they recover and they are shifted to the wards or rooms, and they have a sudden cardiac death. This, when they investigated, found to be arrhythmic death. So these arrhythmic are very dangerous. It can happen in a home quarantine patient also, or even in a hospital scenario also. Usually, beta blockers are supposed to be better in this scenario. Usually, when there is a higher heart rate, we start on beta blockers, and this is supposed to prevent sudden cardiac death situation. These are some of the manifestations in a acute cardiovascular system manifestations in a corona infected patients. So next topic would be, I would like to give a scenario how the situation in India about the corona situation. See, in Hyderabad, as a first-hand information, I know in Hyderabad and this Ashura hospitals, I told you this, there are 2,000 beds. There are absolutely no beds for COVID. This was complicated for a couple of days by lack of oxygen, but somehow government corrected it very soon. Of course, we didn't have much casualties because of this, but absolutely there is no beds right now, and there is a dearth of professionals. Some of the regular working people like nursing staff, paramedical staff, because of the corona situation, some of them left, and this has led to a shortage of crunch of this staff, and we have to pay double or triple salaries to bring them in and then start this situation. Treat the case. So coming to the media responsibility and citizens' responsibility, I've seen the media is continuously publishing negative scenes across the India and world. See, you see, this is something I would like to stress more rather than my initial topic, because see, if usually a negative news sells far better than a positive news. This is a psyche of humans, and this is a bigger disease than corona, I feel. See, usually any person would like to hear a news, negative news from a society or a neighbor rather than a positive news. This media is cashing on. Even the social media, which is more aggressive than mainstream media nowadays, is cashing on this issue. Suppose a person gives a negative video telling about the negative talk under some politician or some doctor. This immediately becomes a viral. These people are cashing on, giving negative talks, negative videos, and this becomes a viral. They get a propaganda, a negative propaganda. See, a lot of movie directors or this, they give a negative propaganda to popularize themselves. And I feel this is a bigger disease than the coronavirus. Somehow, India, the society's psychology has to change. Let there be a more positive news rather than negative news. I mean, why can't the media project good news about how many patients are improving, how many bed strengths are there, how many ambulance services are there, how many plasma donors are there? There are so many good things which can be done rather than continuously projecting negative news and making the people panicky. Already Dr. M.S. Reddy sir was saying fear is the main factor for decreasing the immunity and subjecting into more infectious diseases. And this media and social media, mainstream media, is playing a main role in giving negative news, making them panicky and decreasing their immunity. Probably directly or indirectly, it is leading to more and more coronavirus and pandemic. At least it must have contributed to some extent to this thing. So, as a responsible citizen, everyone should never go for a negative news. Once this kind of a thought stops, probably the media also comes to it. People are not encouraging this, and they'll go out with the positive news. Then I would like to, the next one is about the third wave. So the third wave, supposedly, first wave, there was a lockdown, there were no much number of cases. Second wave literally devastated India. And it's going to be a long-term economic situation also. Coming to the third wave, there could be a third wave also. But as per the predictions of many, of course, my MS Reddy sir should be telling more about this. If there is a third wave coming up, I think people should be very well prepared. I feel only preparation for this is following a COVID appropriate behavior like double mask or wearing N95 mask, social distancing, and then hand sanitation. Then a rapid escalation of vaccine coverage. Probably, if you go with a rapid escalation of ramping up this vaccine coverage, probably we may tackle the third wave scenario. If third wave is more devastating than second wave, I think this is going to be a bigger catastrophe. And last but not the least, I would like to stress on one formula called 1% formula, which we have followed few of our friends, 10, 15 members. See, I as a philanthropist, I would like to say everyone should donate at least 1% of their income to the society, which we have done recently for the past 1 week. 12 members of our close friends, like-minded people, have gathered and we donated some amount. We have given around 550 people a pack of 5 kg of rice, 1 kg dal, 1 kg oil. It's amounting to around 550, 600 rupees. I went personally to all the poor people like who live in the slums and all, and they were literally there are no, because of the lockdown, there's no food or there's no work for them. These are the people who help for the day. There's no work, they can't do. So we gave some kind of a package which they can try for 10 days or so. They were literally on our feet. Literally on our feet. Thank you. Probably this kind of every citizen, I mean, who are literally, there is no healthy, who are able to afford for 1% income. Let this income be circulated among that 1% be circulated to the poor. That becomes 100%. 1% can become 100% to such person who is really in need of it. So that this pandemic scenario where there is a war-like humanitarian crisis, something best can be done rather than unnecessarily projecting. You know that there are no drugs now. As per the remdesivir has come and gone. There's no the plasma therapy has come and gone. Ivermectin has come and gone. There's no much drug. There are 2-3 drugs coming up. It's promising to us the 2DG drug and then some other drug. But I don't know how they are going to fare well in the long run. But what we can do at our responsibility from every person, like social etiquette, I mean, COVID approach behavior, next, donating something to the poor people who are needy and helping, and playing a correct role in unnecessarily not propagating this, like media has propagated negative news. These are some of the tips I would like to do through this portal. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Guru Prakash. A wonderful insight. I can't help but smile because I'm in the media. I run a TV show and also write editorials. But yeah, what you said is true. Mostly media highlights the negative aspects of not just pandemic or not just corona. You know, it's in general. And that's what
crashing on the psyche of the
that's unfortunate. But yeah, they tend to exaggerate. Although there's some reality in it, that they tend to exaggerate it. On that note, I'll ask you a question on the hospital beds.
Yeah,
I was speaking to my reporters a couple of days ago, and there's a lot of news about lack of availability of hospital beds, and the criticism that at least that my reporters or the editors mentioned was when patients come in to the hospital reporting these issues, are they assigned beds directly without being triaged, or are they being triaged first?
Yeah, let me answer this question two parts. First, let us think of our infrastructure, health infrastructure. We are 138 billion, 138 crore population. How many beds we have? Private, government, and whatever, semi-government, trust office, whatever. This, we are not prepared to this magnitude or this volume of disease patients. Right from the beginning, years down the line, no government has supported healthcare. The GDP allotted for increasing the healthcare infrastructure is far, far less when compared to any other country. Usually 8 to 9% of GDP is developed is given to the healthcare. But in India, hardly 1.5, I think 2, less than 2 is given to healthcare. So over a long period, we have not developed a clear-cut, better infrastructure to tackle an ordinary situation, let alone this kind of magnitude. So I hope I made a basic ground for your answering question. So coming to this scenario, You have I told you we have 2,000 beds in Yashoda. And every day there will be 500, 400 patients coming with the COVID symptoms. ER, they have triage. We have a good health person in the ER person, people who really take care of that. They triage. They usually admit a person who, if there's ICU bed, there's a less than 94 oxygen saturation, a patient deteriorating, all other comorbidities, usually is given a bed priority. As per I'm telling you about from my hospital, I don't know about other hospitals. Suppose a person is a mild, moderate disease. Even everyone comes to hospital for a hospital. They are triaged to a OPD. They are asked to go to OPD. They're done a CT and viral markers as per the disease progression. I mean, what do you call it? Inflammatory markers, not viral. Suppose inflammatory markers are raised and CT is showing a score of high, then these patients are admitted. Suppose CT score is less, inflammatory markers are less, then they are asked to go for a home quarantine. This is how it is done in our hospital. But I mean, I don't know about other situations.
All right, sure. Thank you for answering that question. Just to add to what you said, that's very true. I also work with other governments in the US here, the municipal governments, and I also write research papers on politics. That's very true. India, unfortunately, has a very less percentage, absolute less percentage of GDP or of the budget assigned to healthcare system in general. Also, in India's defense, this applies to almost every country. Most of the countries, I can't say none, most of the countries do not have a pandemic preparedness policy in place. There's no pandemic preparedness template or policy in place. If we have a policy, in fact, that's the research I'm working on right now. If you have a policy in place that could be a municipal, state, national, international level, then governments and henceforth the people would be more ready to face the pandemic and be in a position to recover from the pandemic. That's another thing which is lacking. Do you agree, Dr. Bhaskar or Dr. Reddy? Or Dr. Guru?
Sir, I would like to ask a question on to MS Reddy, sir. Sir, how about the third wave? What are the possibilities and what are the... Hello,
Dr.
sir,
Reddy, please unmute. Please unmute, Dr. MS Reddy. Unmute.
Yeah, please unmute, sir. So I think you're on mute. Yeah.
Now, could you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Now, in the first place, Dr. Prakash, you did a pretty good job. And then my thinking on that, on the third wave, there's no way we're going to stop these mutations. Okay. And to give you an idea, I tried to mutate a bacterial virus, and then I tried to stop that. It mutated 45 times. Okay. I was trying to make a fudge-resistant mutant of the bacteria, you know, when I was battling with it. When you mutate the virus and the bacteria mutates, and the bacteria mutates and the virus mutates. Okay. The same thing in the human scenario. And especially this RNA virus is going to go through the third wave. That's what I'm calling antigenic drift. Antigenic drift will be there. I'm hoping it could also turn out this next mutation may be much milder. We don't know how this is going to, the genome is going to act on this one, you know. But no matter what it is, I feel I know the vaccines are coming. I mean, this is where everybody's criticizing the vaccines too. Vaccine is specifically done for a particular antigen. Antibodies produced for a particular antigen. When the antigenicity is changing with the mutation, the efficacy of the vaccine is coming down. Okay, it's naturally. So way to handle this thing is to, Dr. Prakash, this is my feeling. My feeling is in the whole system, whoever is susceptible for the COVID-19 disease, they're in their immune system, they're lacking the T regulatory cell. T regulatory cell is like a supervisor. When the immunity is overacting, making the holes in the lungs and everything, then you need a supervisory T cell to tell the action is completed, go home. That's missing. That is a T regulatory cell. The T regulatory cell can only be handled through the probiotics in the gastrointestinal tract to stimulate the lymphatic system. Okay, in my opinion, that's where the problem is. Some of the problem is where we are getting this cytokine storm. Okay, so on the third wave, to answer your question, third wave, perhaps this mutant may go wild too, because infective rate may be higher, or other way around. It may be significantly lower too. We don't know which way the mutation is going to go. Okay, that I hope I answered your question.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a question on that, but in best interest of time, I'll hold off on that question. And I'll pose that question to Dr. Deval on the mutations. Thank you, Dr. Reddy, on that. Let's move on to the next.
I just want to thank Dr. Guru Prakash. He's extremely busy treating patients, and we really admire you taking some time off and sharing your views, especially the guidance given to media and governments and civil societies and people in general. Really appreciate it. You spoke very well, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Prakash. Yeah, that was really helpful. Thank you. Our next speaker is Dr. Anish Mehta. Dr. Mehta is the holder of several prestigious designations like MD, FIDSA, FAST, and was named Chief of Infectious Diseases Services at Emory University Hospital and Emory University Orthopedics and Spine Hospital. Dr. Mehta served as Associate Chief of ID Services at EUH, EUOSH since 2013. Dr. Mehta is a distinguished physician in the Emory University School of Medicine, where his primary academic appointment is Associate Professor of Medicine in the Division of Infectious Diseases, with a secondary appointment as Associate Professor of Surgery in the Division of Transplant Surgery. He received his Bachelor of Science in Biology from Emory University after earning his MD from University of Oklahoma Health Science Center. Dr. Mehta completed his residencies in internal medicine and fellowship in infectious diseases at Emory University School of Medicine, where he joined the faculty in 2009. Dr. Mehta is the Assistant Director of Transplant Infectious Diseases and the Consultant for Occupational Exposures at the Yerkes National Primate Center. Dr. Mehta is a physician leader in the Emory Serious Communicable Diseases Unit, the National Emerging Special Pathogens Training and Education Center, and NETEC Special Pathogens Research Network, where he leads the Biorepository and Clinical Trials Group. Dr. Mehta is an ID consultant at EUH and EUOSH, and he maintains a strong presence in clinical research at EUH. Today, I welcome Dr. Mehta to share his advice and expert opinion on the pandemic and deadly spread of COVID. Welcome, Dr. Mehta. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much for that very kind introduction. And I prepared a few slides to review.
Yep. You can share your screen.
Can you see the slides at this point?
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah, please.
Wonderful. So thank you so much for that very kind introduction. I am an infectious disease physician here at Emory, and I specialize in the treatment of patients with viral infections. I've been unfortunately inundated with COVID-19 since March 4th is when I saw my first patient. What I'm going to do today is focus on a couple topics that I was asked to speak about. And first, I want to thank the Lead India Foundation and the organizers for inviting me to speak on these topics, and specifically going to go over my assessment of the current situation, and then talk a little bit about some ideas about treatment, about vaccinations, and then just my experience in treating mold infections here in the US. So where we are right now, you see, as we've been talking about all morning, we're in this second surge, which is a very dramatic and prominent surge, unlike any other surges we've seen in most parts of the world. And that has also correlated with an impressive surge in deaths, which is unfortunate. While it's been commented on, the overall mortality rate of COVID-19 is not as high as things such as Ebola and Lassa fever. It is when it is this much surge, it does have a dramatic